नज़दीक हो जाए। मैं इसको आगे कर देती हूँ, शरद जी उसको आगे कर दीजिए, लीजिए।
If the monsoon session of Parliament had been dominated by the issue of inflation, this current session has been dominated by the issue of corruption. And a string of scandals had surfaced during the interlude, or some of them even earlier, as a result of which, right from day one, there has been a total difference of opinion, approach between the government and the opposition on how this issue needs to be tackled. The result is a kind of a deadlock. Naturally, the presiding officer also felt concerned about it. And yesterday, she convened a meeting of all opposition parties to decide how this deadlock can be removed. Earlier, the presiding officer had not called the opposition leaders, but the leader of the House had convened 2 meetings. But no agreement could be arrived at, and so the stalemate continued. Yesterday also, there was a clear difference between day before yesterday, also there was a clear difference between the approach of the government and the approach of the opposition. In fact, I heard the leader of the opposition emphatically point out that in these 3 meetings, while in the first meeting there were some opposition parties who had reservation about insisting on a joint parliamentary committee. In the second meeting convened by the leader of the House, there was a greater coordination between the opposition parties. And yesterday's meeting showed almost total, complete unanimity that there can be no other solution to this problem excepting a joint parliamentary committee. And it was all pointed out how in the past also, even when the government had been reluctant at the outset, it was either the Congress government, Congress-led government, or the NDA government, there was reluctance for a JPC at the outset. But ultimately, in all the 4 cases, JPC was conceded, and the business of the House restarted. Leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha again emphasized that we, from day one, wanted the House to proceed normally. And even now, we would be happy if the opposition's unanimous view is respected, a JPC is conceded, and business that remains or which should have been covered even in the preceding 2 weeks. We are willing to sit extra time and complete all the business. We are not in any way keen that the business of the House should be obstructed. It's wrong. But even then the government said that we cannot concede a JPC. They said it's very clear, we will not. And on the other hand, the opposition also was equally insistent that apart from the JPC, there can be no solution. Now, what I want to say today is that we hold that the government is indifferent to the problem of corruption. And if an allegation is likely to reach high levels of political office, then they become absolutely adamant. And this is something that the NDA feels has to be fought against, this attitude. Because this is not only corroding society, corrupting society, affecting governance as a whole, but it's a far greater malady than some bribery and corruption taking place at some point in government. And therefore, we have already decided that this is a battle that those interested in the welfare of society, in good governance, must fight not only within the precincts of the legislature, but even in the people. So even before yesterday, day before yesterday's meeting, the NDA had sat down and decided that not only the NDA but other parties who are willing to join in this crusade against corruption, let them be invited to join together in a series of public rallies and meetings we propose to hold around the country. But we do feel sorry that Parliament should proceed as it is proceeding. And we hold that the government is squarely to blame for the present stalemate. As I said in the beginning, that they are not keen to curb corruption, and therefore the institutions that are there to probe, investigate and bring to book the corrupt, institutions like the CBI, institutions like the CVC, they have been dealt with by the government in a manner to make it very obvious that they would like to utilize it for their own political ends, not sincerely to curb corruption or to investigate corruption. Now, CBI is an instrument that they have been using either to browbeat those whom they do not like, or make some elements in public life fall in line as the government wants. So it's an instrument that they use. It's only the result of a court judgment that suddenly in the case of certain bodies like the Vigilance Commission or the information commissioners, that courts felt that these are institutions in which the appointing body should not be only the government. The opposition should be involved. And therefore it is that they insisted that in certain cases, the appointing authority should be not only the Prime Minister and the minister concerned, but even the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha. And for some time when I was there, I noticed that very often they would like a name to be suggested and they would like me to endorse it. And at one stage I said I cannot endorse it. There has to be a panel. And unless you give me a panel, you select that panel. Only then I would think it would be worthwhile, I would be doing my duty if I come and say that of this panel of 3 persons, I think that this is so and so is suitable.